first panel discussion? Or is this anyone's first panel discussion?
Sorry, what was that?
Is this your first panel discussion? Is this anyone's first panel discussion? Like youth and young adults? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're all first timers. Well,
Yes, ma'am.
praise God. I thought I was the only one.
Nope.
Good. We'll kind of ride it out together. We'll kind of vibe off of each other.
Pretty much.
Prayerfully, that's how it goes.
So I know Julie's from Canada, but you guys, where are you guys from?
Brooklyn.
New York,
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn,
New
New
York.
York, the Big Apple.
Team New York. Okay. And Jonathan, you're from where?
My hometown is Montreal, but I live in Ottawa.
Okay, Canada.
You guys go to the same church, you and Julie?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
But kind of. We have the same pastor.
Okay. Okay, Pastor Markelly.
Yeah, because the thing with me, I'm always traveling. Like right now, I'm a student in college in Ohio. So technically, if it wasn't for COVID-19, I'd be in Columbus, Ohio right now. Yeah.
Yep. I know how that feels. Well, I never went away. I'm still in Brooklyn for school. But
Yeah.
COVID did something to us all.
Yep.
Yeah. Recently graduated. Clap it up for you. Recent graduate.
Over.
There we go. What you got your degree in?
Public health. Isn't that ironic?
Ah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. To God be the glory. He did it for me.
Nice. You got your mind? You got any plans after graduation? Even though I know you just crossed the border.
Because of COVID, I don't even know what plans I could have for myself right now, right? This is just so unpredictable. We don't know when we're going back outside. And then I don't know if you guys know, New York, we had it pretty bad. Like we hit hard, shut down all the way. So yeah.
I heard.
It's real out here. So we've been inside for some time now.
Do you guys know people from your churches that's been affected and stuff?
Yeah.
There was a point where it was like every week we were getting like calls every week.
Oh wow.
My bishop, he got hit with COVID, So and he had it pretty bad. He was on the ventilator and the whole nine, but thank God he made it out. He's home now, so he's just
Who's your bishop?
Excuse me?
Who's your bishop?
Oh, Bishop Joseph Harris.
Okay.
Yeah, Bishop Joseph Harris. So when he got it,
I know a friend of mine that got the COVID-19 as well. It was rough.
Yeah. It was he had a bad, and being the fact that he's in his 60s, and he had pre-existing conditions. So it was just real crucial, but thank God, he made it out. He's home.
Praise God.
So God is good with that, So I had a couple of my friends,
Yeah, that's good. I know we know a couple of people who definitely got hit. But some of them recovered, but then some did pass, unfortunately. So it's been, like I said, Minister Dolphin knows there was a point where every week it was just like someone else. So it was a difficult season. It was just something that we were kind of getting used to. So yeah. But it's getting better now. So I just thank God for that.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Is it bad out there? I know they probably closed the border of Canada. They were like, nobody's coming in.
When I flew in, so basically when I had to leave Columbus, they closed the border like the day after. It was crazy. They shut down so many airports. You only have I think 4 nationwide that was still open. I don't think they're still open right now, but yeah, it was crazy.
I know Canada doesn't play that. No, I know.
Don't play.
If anything, yep. If anything, I knew that you guys, like, no one will probably be going in for the next couple of months. Like, I don't even know when they're gonna let people back in, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. Imagine being stuck. Like, I feel so bad for certain people who are stuck in certain places, like the people who were stuck on the cruise lines for like a month going on. I was like, wait, me? Just to be on a boat with people who are just dying and stuff like that? I was like, nah, that's crazy.
It's insane.
I thought I was gonna be stuck at school.
Yeah. But then they let people out, right? They weren't keeping you guys.
Well, the Ohio already like was in a state of like emergency, whatever, like before they started shutting everything down in like March.
Mm-hmm.
It's like as soon as they heard Corona, like they didn't even start spelling it out. They're like, okay, no, we're shutting everything down. And so about a weekend, that was actually during my March break.
Wow.
And then when I heard rumors about the border closing, I'm like, I need to go.
You need to fly out.
Yeah, and next thing you know, yeah, it was closed like within 48 hours.
That's
I was
crazy.
already
Well, good thing
there.
you made it in, right? Because I don't even know if they were keeping people on campus. Because based on the news, they were saying like they were closing campuses and everything. It was just like nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine being stuck. I just feel bad because people pay money for school and dorms and all of that stuff, and then you couldn't even finish your semester there.
Yeah. My college gave me a refund though. No.
Oh, that's good. To God be the glory. Not every college. My college is still playing games with certain individuals. I'm like, can we be real? Like, hello.
Don't you guys do any online classes or anything?
Yes. Everything went straight online. But for those individuals who were on campus, it displaced them, because it's like they have to go back to, if they can go back to wherever they came from. So it was really difficult for them.
Wow.
But yeah, we do online, and then even the fall semester and the summer semester, they said it's going to be online. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not going to have to experience that. To God be the glory, but we'll see. Oh wow.
Let me pull up this one.
Are you guys youth leaders at your church as well?
I'm not trying to.
I was more.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, me, it's not mostly with the youth. I have the young ladies ministry, and then I have also the worship team.
Okay, that's dope.
Yeah, I'm more involved with the worship team. I used to work with the youth, but on campus at school though, I am well, when I'm there, I am a leader, a youth leader for World Harvest. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope. That's good.
How about you guys?
I am worship leader, youth leader, administrator, everything. Everything you could think of, I am that person, honestly. So there is no one title, but yeah.
Everywhere, everything.
So, yeah, everything is.
That's a fact. Everything.
Many umbrellas under here.
Everything. It all feels everything. She's a Swiss Army knife ministry leader.
Right. That's right.
A little bit of everything. That's it. She's all in one. Matter of fact, you're all ministry. That's your title. All ministry.
That's it. All ministry. All ministry. All servant. All day.
All ministry.
Gio done preach. Gio done praise the worship. Gio done youth leader, audio. You Need to change your tire on your car? Like,
I'm not there yet, but I'm about to. I'm about to be the mechanic up in here.
You never stop, man.
Everything, whatever it takes for the kingdom, right?
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
That's your title. Whatever it takes. That's it.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
That's it. Let's see. Oh, right there. I'm a
What
youth
about
pastor.
you, Minister Dawson? What?
I'm a youth pastor at my church, so I primarily oversee, pretty much deal with the discipling the young adults.
Okay.
Dope. And he's a rapper.
Oh, on top of that.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
A full-on artist.
Yeah, appreciate it. Hey,
Come on now.
you know.
You should spit some bars for us later on, though.
That's the other. Be ministerial for now, right?
Right. The afterglow could be Minister Dorfin spitting some bars.
Right. Oh my God. I haven't been to an afterglow.
Afterglow.
So
Hi
long.
guys. How's everyone doing?
Hey, what's
Fine. How are
wrong?
you?
I'm sorry for the delay. I'm doing well, and I apologize for the delay on our side. It was technical difficulties, but we are ready to start now. How is everyone else doing? I know you guys were getting a chance to talk and get to know each other and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're good.
Good. We excited.
Ready.
Ready?
Let's go.
So I want to go ahead and welcome everyone else to the National Haitian Convention. This is our first time doing a young adult panel, so we're super excited, and we thank you guys for coming out and being able to join us on live. So right now I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. I am the host. My name is Trisha. I am at Salem Community Church. My position is leadership, vice president for WCC, which is Within Connect College Ministry, as well as leadership and Salem Praise Dancers.
Hey guys, I'm Jeff. I also go to Salem Community Church. I help lead the board on the WCC, which is our young adult ministry, and also the youth boys ministry. I'm also the co-leader on that ministry as well.
Gio, you can go ahead and introduce.
Oh yes, absolutely. I wasn't sure. Okay. I am Giovanni Calise. I go to Connect Life Church with Pastor Diane, Jacques Saint Cyrin. I am, like I just told them, I'm a servant. I do all things. So yes, amen.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? My name is Youth Pastor Richard Dolphin. I go to Life Changes Church and Ministries in Manhattan. I also serve, as the minister at Connect Life Church under Pastor Diane. And I'm also a Christian hip hop artist. And I'm definitely excited to be a part of this panel and just to share my experiences with you guys. So looking forward to it.
Hey everyone, so my name is Jonathan Nabusel. I am from Canada, and I serve as a youth worship leader, and also I serve as a youth leader on my campus at school. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm Sister Julie, Julie Louis from Canada, Ontario. So I am the worship leader at my church. Also, I'm in charge of the young ladies ministry. So it's my pleasure to be with you guys this morning.
Okay, thank you. And we welcome everyone as well again who is watching. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a brief overview as to what we're going to be discussing with the panel. So the theme of our panel is Tug-of-war. It was chosen because the balance of our living life as young adults, along with our relationship with Christ, can feel like a continuous push and pull relationship. The focus of the panel will to help become aware of whether you're being pushed or pulled within your relationship with Christ. So being push or pull. So we'll be discussing some things like that we struggle with as young adults, which is like managing our faith and managing relationship, which have to do with family, friendship, or courting or dating relationships. Would anyone else like to give a brief overview or anything that they want to say before we get started?
I wanted to say that when we're looking at
Muted.
when we're referring to tug of war, we're really referring to like two different forces that's pulling you left and right. And especially right now, um, with this pandemic that is going on, we know that it's so easily to be pulled left and right. And if you're not grounded in your faith, and if you're not solid somewhere, it's so easy for you to go on the opposite way. So I thought it would be a very good opportunity for us, not only to help each other, but to help other youth who may be facing the same situation, or as of this time that they're questioning themselves. They're like, all types of questioning is going on. And I hope and we pray that this panel will kind of solidify everything and make them more grounded in their faith.
Okay, so as we begin our first section or segment, we're going to talk about faith. So I wanted to explain what faith is. If you look into Hebrews 11:1, it basically essentially says that faith is something that we can't see it's something that we can't see yet for what we know is going to happen. So I know for me personally, I can discuss on my faith. During this time, my faith has been able to grow more. Because I was in isolation, and that way I was able to focus more on God and become more into my word and read it more. So I feel like during this time of quarantine, my faith has been able to grow, even though it wasn't where it was today, where it was before when I first started. Does anyone else want to kind of discuss like what is faith, or what does faith mean to them?
All right, for me, faith is a journey. Essentially, it's the trust, the confidence that you have in God that can't be shown, that has to materialize over time, that you develop as you get stronger with your relationship with God. And it's going to be tough because you're depending on eyes that's not the physical, that's all spiritual. So it's tough when you go through trials in life, and when you have to see God move, and when sometimes you have to be patient to have that faith that you can't really see. So that's what it is pretty much for me.
I would like to add on to that. When I think of faith, I look at faith as faith is our fuel. Faith is the gas in our car. And one thing I like about even with that picture is the fact that faith is not a one-time thing. You could get a full tank on Sunday. Somebody might be full on this Saturday, from listening to all these panels. But guess what? That full tank is not gonna last you, on Thursday. As you keep going, your faith is gonna, when you encounter the world, there's a lot of things that are gonna be draining your faith. This is why it's important. We gotta constantly keep feeding our faith. You constantly keep your gas tank full at all times, because we are gonna be tested. You know what I mean? So this is why, we have to be intentional on our part, especially being in this pandemic, or even though we might be separated from, let's say, the house of worship, but we gotta remain connected somehow. We gotta be connected with other believers, because even just other believers, that helps fuel our faith. You know what I mean? To keep us, afloat, so that we could go on, progress on to this journey, because it's not a game out here. You know what I mean? The enemy coming out to steal, kill, and destroy, man. And if you don't have your tank, if your tank is on E, you ain't going too far, literally. You know what I mean? So
that is true. I completely agree with you, Minister Dolphin. Would anyone else like to have anything else to say on faith before we go ahead and start with our questions?
Yeah, so if you allow me to tag in, pretty much when I hear faith, I also hear the word trust, because when you hear the word, example, we know that faith comes by hearing, and hearing the word of God. So once we know the word of God, we have to trust that word. And so the things that we face in life always has to do with your level of trust, and that thing is called faith. So if you know that God has spoken, or gave you a promise, and you're just waiting on it, depending on how much you trust God on what He said, you're going to be at peace in whatever situation you're in or you're facing. So personally, I always hear the word trust when it comes to faith.
Okay, I completely agree with that, because faith and trust go hand in hand together. So we're gonna kind of just go ahead and start jumping into our questions. So of course, the questions are open for anyone to answer. And if anyone wants to add on to the questions, go ahead. And for those who are watching on YouTube, we are going to be answering any questions that you guys place into the comments. So we will have Minister Jeff. He's going to be reading through the comments. So if you guys have any questions, he's going to look through and ask us, and then all of us will be able to open up and answer those questions for you guys. So one of our first questions is, what does it mean to be able to step out in faith? Or have you guys ever been in a situation where you had to take a leap of faith and trust God more than you trusted yourself?
Jill, look like you have something to say.
Well, yes, that's because I have been in plenty of situations, because I do agree with you guys when faith is a journey. It's something that you have to continuously make sure that your tank is not on E. And I guess an example, like when I think of faith, I think of boldness, right? So stepping out on faith is your boldness in God, like knowing that, okay, something may be a requirement for others, but because of who I am and whose I am, like I know that my confidence is like God will never steer me wrong. He'll never leave me or forsake me. So I've been in situations where, like, for example, like I've been in school and they try to tell me like you're not graduating or certain things, and I'm like, you're talking to the wrong person, right? Because I know my confidence comes from God, my boldness comes from God, and it's not me being cocky, but it's me knowing who He is, right? So I've definitely been in situations like that, but then I definitely had to check my faith level and be like, no, like I have to not operate in fear, you know. So most definitely.
I could also agree with, like, attest or add on to what Gio said. It's like when you are in a situation where it's like your back's against the wall, it comes to the point where you have to ask yourself, who do I trust, myself, or do I trust in God more? And what I've learned through my journey of faith is when I rely on myself, I get easily more frustrated and things just become 10 times harder. So I feel like when I'm, based off what I've learned from those times that I've like trusted into myself, I know that I'm able to trust into God more. Though the situation may suck or it might not be what I want, I have to remind myself constantly every day to like trust God. When I wake up, remind myself, trust God, because He knows the plans for my life better than I do. So another question that we have is, if anyone has been through a period of weakened faith, how are you able to overcome such a weakened faith? Or how are you able to overcome lukewarm faith?
Okay, I'll go. I've been in situations where my faith been tested, where I couldn't make that leap, and God has always had my back. Thank God. But one was with tithing. Tithing took a lot of push from God for me to get where I'm at today. I remember there was once I didn't really have enough, but I wanted to give so bad. But I was like, how am I gonna pay these bills? I have a car note, I have car insurance, I have all these bills. How am I gonna pay it if I give this little left? And I heard a sermon that moved me like the week before, where they were talking about tithing. It was like Bishop saying he had nothing and he gave the money he was supposed to give for his kids' college tuition. He just piled it up and gave it, not knowing where the money was gonna come from. I was like, that is so powerful. It moved me. I'm like, that's how I should be. I should just give. I shouldn't worry, because I know whatever I give is gonna come back tenfold. I shouldn't worry about that. But I still couldn't get that extra step to move. And literally, I ended up giving like not as much as I wanted because I held back. And literally, like it was probably like 2 days after that, the money I wasn't supposed to get, I ended up getting like 2 times the amount. Wow. And I was like, okay, I think that was just God showing like, you don't have to be shy. You don't have to like be so timid with me. I got your back. Just do it, and I'm gonna handle the rest. And like since then, I've been able to just give, knowing it's gonna be handled. Bills, whatever's coming my way, will be handled. I don't have to worry about giving, because He's gonna always have my back, and that helped my faith out a lot.
I feel like with faith, like God puts us in positions, not necessarily to test us, but to show us what He can do. So then that way, when we go further on in life, that we're able to look back and reflect, okay, where God has brought us from. So then that way we can trust him for where he's going to bring us.
I also wanted to say something too in regarding to faith. When we think about faith, faith is a muscle. It has to be stretched. It has to be exercised for you to have it. You don't just wake up one day and you have faith. You have to go through a process. And if we, as a Christian, everything that we attain from God is a process. God is never going to give you something that you cannot handle. He's not going to just put you somewhere else. He knows that you're not ready for. So that process is how we exercise our faith, is how we build that muscle so God can prepare us for where we're going.
I totally agree. I was going to say the same thing. And I think also having a good surrounding around you can boost you to keep going in your faith. Like if you have a negative surrounding, like you won't be able to get there. But when you have people that's pushing you, that's with you in that, your faith will grow. Because the Bible said like your faith increased with what you heard by the testimony. So having a good surrounding also keep your faith growing.
Okay. Did you have something to ask?
Yeah, no, I just had a couple comments from YouTube. Bruce is stepping out of faith, stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something that is unfamiliar.
Mm-hmm.
That is powerful. That is powerful. All right, let's see what else we have. It takes a lot of courage to step out on faith.
It does. It's like stepping out into the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen, but you trust God.
Yeah, he said you do not have to worry when you have faith in God.
I do agree with what Ruth said. Stepping out on faith, it requires you to get out of your comfort zone. And let's be honest, none of us like to get out of our comfort zone, right? None of us. I don't know anybody that likes to be stretched. When God is like, okay, it's next level, next dimension. And you're like, why, God? Like, why? Like, I'm not ready for this. And God, you're asking. I remember I was telling someone, I remember when I started my Christian walk, my faith, and I used to ask God, like, God, I need the anointing. I want to be anointed. I never understood what it takes to be, how much the anointing costs. Like I was asking for something. I didn't know that for me to get what I'm asking, that it requires a process. So I'm like, the whole time I'm like, God, I want to do this. I want to do that. But I never understood. Like I would see people on stage. I was like, I want to sound like that. I want, God, I need this. But I never knew that there was a process, and faith is a process.
Powerful one from Sister Nadia. She said, faith is a muscle. You have to stretch and exercise your faith.
Yes.
That is profound. That is absolutely true, because you don't grow on the way the body works. You don't grow until you push it. You put that, if you could do 100 and you stay your whole life doing 100, you don't get stronger. That's all you're going to be able to lift. The more you put, the more you lift.
But the thing is, even what you were saying, Jeff, the thing is, we get comfortable at 100 because you can do 100. So you settle for the 100. So then when a pastor says, like, now you have to do a 50, you be like, hold on, that's too much. That's too much. Like, what you mean? Like, God, what are you doing? Where, you know what I mean? But this is why it's important. The same way, like, with faith being a muscle. If anybody's been in the gym, your personal trainer is trying to challenge you. You can't get comfortable in that place because you'll be stagnated in that place and you won't grow. So oftentimes when we're being challenged and we're being shifted in our lives, this is God answering our prayers, taking you higher. But we respond and we think like, oh, it's the devil. It ain't the devil sometimes. Like, God answering that prayer. You want to grow, right? Well, you got to go through some things, and now you got to learn to trust me more. Because your growth is going to come when you trust me more. You know what I mean? It ain't going to come from just sitting there doing that 100. Doing those 100 push-ups that you could do with one hand and thinking God is good. Nah. There's levels to this. You know what I mean? Definitely. There's levels to this, and you can't just stay stuck at level 4 like for 5 years. You know what I mean? And the enemy of growing Christians is complacency and comfort. You know what I mean? So if you're too comfortable, that just shows you got it. But this is why it's also important to have people around you. Because if you're comfortable doing 100, but everybody around you doing 200, eventually you're gonna be like, you know what? Let me go ahead and. But if everybody's not even doing a push-ups, what's gonna motivate you to actually do your sets?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, the company you keep, who you have around you in your circle is so key and critical to your faith and critical to your growth as a believer. Because if we're not growing, you're dying. Like you already dead out the water. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to be growing. There is no settlement with God. We're always going from glory to glory, from strength to strength. So always keeping that in mind so we can never be stagnated at all times.
Definitely. And just to add on to that, with the analogy of the muscle and working out, if y'all know anything, any little knowledge on it, the muscle to get stronger and for the muscle to grow, it has to tear. It has to tear and then it get replaced. And what it get replaced with? Stronger muscle. And that's the way it works. The faith journey isn't easy. You're going to get beat down, but you're getting beat down to grow stronger. When that muscle tears, you get a new muscle that covers it. And that becomes even stronger. And you're ready for more than you could handle in the past. And that's the way your faith is going to work. God is going to test you. And that test isn't to make you, isn't to punish you. It isn't to just bully you. It's to make you stronger for what's coming.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys said that. We all know that the Bible says faith is a substance of things hoped for and things unseen, right? But if we look into the word substance has density. And when we're referring to density, we're referring to capacity. It has a mass. Mass has no shape. Just think about us going through a process of building faith. When you start with faith, you have nothing. And then it has weight. Substance has weight. When you think about weight, you think about pressure. And then it has substance also. Another synonym is shape. That's when God began to mold you. And then the last one, it says faith has structure. That's when God structure you to become so you can walk into his image. So a lot of time we just say those things, but we don't realize there's a deeper meaning behind the word substance.
All right, and just to read on a couple of these comments. All right, Sister Nadia said, we get out of our comfort zone for something we want, but fail to do it when we have to rely on God.
So true.
Mm-hmm. Sister Fabrice said, we have to position ourselves for what we're praying for.
Yeah. You can't expect for something if you're not ready, if you're not in that position. How do you think God's going to give you what you're desiring if you're still in the past, if you're still back there and you're trying to move forward at the same time? It's kind of impossible.
Mm-hmm. Sister Rivlin said, the anointing comes with a cost. Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to piggyback on the positioning. Positioning is very, very important. Just think about, we also always think about the product that's in the store. If a product in the store and it's not in the right position, you might end up missing it. And positioning is so important. And I remember I was doing something at the church. I was telling you there was a brand that changed their positioning and their sales declined. Their sales went down because they changed their position. And when I think about positioning, even if we go back in the Bible, think about the man by the well. He was there for so long. So another thing I learned, you can be in the position and still miss your blessing. You can be in the right location. Sometimes it requires boldness. If you're not bold enough, you will miss your position. You will miss your time. You will miss your opportunity.
Okay, so you guys very much started talking into what we're gonna go transition to next, which is friendship and making sure the circle that you're in is actually helping you grow. So I kind of wanted to ask this question to Minister Julie. So my question is, comparing yourself now to then, what were the qualities you looked for in a friendship?
I will say having a good surrounding, like I said at the beginning, it's very important because we used to be with friends that tell you what you want to hear, like they make you feel good, but you need to find real people that can tell you the truth in the bad situation. And for me, what my friends, it was a question of changing who I am, because I know who I am and where I'm standing from now on. So I changed the group of friends that I have to be with the new people, the sisters and brother in Christ, to increase, to get better. So that's how things move. That's why I keep saying like surrounding is very important, because it pushes you in the right direction to get closer.
Okay. Does anyone else want to add on to that? Like, how were their finding or they're searching for a friend? How did it change from when they were younger to now?
I would say for me, I think I was blessed the fact that growing up I had a good circle of friends. Good circle of friends where we all, because I wasn't born and raised in church. You know what I mean? So we just was. It was all about just just having fun. You know what I mean? Just having fun. So it was cool. As I came to the faith, there was, I think, I didn't do this voluntarily, but I hung around people that I wanted to be where they were at. Like the people that I admired, I was up under them. Like I was just like, yo, let me get your map, let me get your number, let me call you, let's talk to me about. And I was all like, so how you been walking? I'm like interviewing everybody. Like, so how did you do that? How did you, because I wanted to know and learn, and hanging around them, they put me around people who their circle of friends. So even though I'm young, but I'm hanging around, like, especially in music, I was hanging around, different Christian hip hop rappers, that were men of God. And when I saw them, how they emulated themselves, I saw myself. They dressed like me, they looked like me, we got the same likings, but they were older, they're more mature. So hanging around them enabled me. I didn't know it, but it matured me just being around them, and to the point where I was around people my age, I felt different. Like, I was like, yo, y'all so, you know what I mean? Like, y'all gotta come up. And they be like, why they looking at me like, why you acting this? I'm like, you don't understand. Why? Because hanging around people that were mature, it leveled me up in my mind, and I wanted to hang around them. And that was so critical for me, and now, even now when I'm speaking to young people, I'm seeing everybody that's around, I'm always like, yo, what's your circle like? What's your circle like? You can't tell me, if you hang around people that don't do nothing all day, every day, you expect to be somebody. You got to change your circle. It ain't gonna happen. Like, it ain't gonna happen. If you went, like there's a saying, like, show me your friends, you show me where you're going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we all broke, guess what? Ain't nobody getting rich out of this circle. We all broke. But if you're broke and you're hanging around rich people, I guarantee you, in time, you're gonna figure it out. How, even if they don't, either somebody gonna help you out, or they gonna show you how to get to the bag. You know what I mean? Or you're gonna pick up just watching them, be like, I'm gonna do something else. It's gonna be uncomfortable being around them, because you see that they are about something, so that's why it's so key. And I'm not saying like cut everybody off that ain't doing nothing now, but when you trying to go somewhere, you intentionally seek out people, you know what I mean, and connect with them. That's what I'm saying. You connect with where you trying to go, point blank, period. We can't settle in our friendships or our circle. Like, we have to, like, continually, again, it goes down to that growth and progression.
Okay.
Amen.
I kind of wanted to add on to that. It's also like, I know like a lot of people, when they start to feel like uncomfortable around their friendship or the certain friends, they either categorize the letting go or breaking up the friendship portion either as, oh, I have to completely cut this person off, or it's like, I don't want to talk to them like at all, or I have to like stay in contact with them and things like that. But I feel like what happens is, it's okay to outgrow your circle, because as you're growing, you're not going to stay in that same mindset. You're not always going to stay in that same position. And you have to make a decision sometimes, like, either when I'm growing, do I want to try to help these friends to come up with me? Or am I going to let them stay behind because they themselves aren't ready, or they themselves don't want better for them? So I know, like for me, when I mentor other people in WCC, I kind of tell them like, sometimes you have to be prepared to ask yourself, like, am I ready to leave this friend behind because they're not ready to move forward? Because I can't want better for you than you want for yourself sometimes. So it's just like, you have to ask yourself that question. How are they going to go up with you as you're going up, or are they going to stay behind?
That is so true. But you know, the funny thing is, when I was when I began my walk, or I don't think God gave me the option to cut people off. I think he just took them from me. Right? I didn't have that option to be like, maybe God saw that maybe I'm nice. I was gonna be like, I don't know what to do. Like people just begin to like leave. They're like, oh, you're acting like you're better than we are. You acting like you can't hang with us. And I'm like, no, like people just started to drop left and right. And I didn't understand. And I'm like, God, did I do something wrong? All I'm trying to do is just walk with you. I don't understand why all of a sudden I have like all my friends that I used to have, I no longer have them. But I had to realize that it's okay because God had to put me in a different circle for where I was going.
And to piggyback on that, that is the best thing about our walk with Christ. It eliminates so many things that you won't have to do. Like if you just walk with Christ, most of these bad people are just gonna fall out of life. Or the best thing about it, it'll help push them. It'll help awaken something inside them that say, well, they're moving forward. They're getting better. They're stopping all these flaws and all these bad habits. I'm gonna get better too. So it's gonna either do either one. They're either gonna fall out your life and you won't have to worry about that bad seed disturbing your spirit, or they're gonna have to get better to get on your level and move with you. Mm-hmm. And that's the best thing about our walk. And just to read some of these comments off. One said, you need friendships that challenge your way of thinking that will help you grow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Another one said, two cannot walk unless they agree. Mm-hmm. How can we be friends if we are going in different directions?
That's all. Okay, so I have one question for Minister Jonathan. So comparing yourself now to then, were your friends helping you grow into becoming a better person? Like, how were you able to identify whether they're helping you grow or holding you back?
So Minister Dolphin mentioned it just a little while ago. It's really important to recognize where you are going. And when you know where you're going, now you're going to surround yourself with people like that. So how do I know if my friends are helping me grow? Is that they're pushing me where I need to be, and to the person I need to become. Just thinking about a good example of a friendship that we always think about when we look in the Bible is David and Jonathan. Jonathan could recognize in David a king. Although Jonathan was the son of a king, he could still recognize something in David, and yet he made a covenant with that friend, So like having friends like that who will recognize who you are, that's how you know, and they're pushing you there. That's how you know, you got good people, and that's how I know I have good people. Like honestly, I changed. Like growing up, I moved a lot. Like I was just saying that to my new friends here on the panel. Basically, I was changing cities a lot because like my parents, they were like when they studied and stuff, they outside of town and stuff. So I always move cities. So I had to develop this ability to make new friends. And for every season, I had to recognize, okay, where am I going? And with that, I was able to make new connections. Some lasted, I can say, are gonna last for a lifetime, but other relationships, I was able to recognize that it was good for that specific season. But as soon as I was able to grow out of that season, now we mutually respect each other, but we both recognize that we're past that season. So I think that just knowing where you're going can definitely help you identify if someone is helping you grow or not.
Okay, thank you for answering that. Do you have any questions from YouTube?
No questions, but I do have a couple great comments. Sister Evelyn said, funny one. She said, nowadays this generation is so thirsty to fit in. Some of them don't even know who they are. Sister Faris said, there are 3 types of friends in your life: the branch, the leaf, and the root. Sister Nadia said, we don't need friends that agree with our nonsense, but someone who will push us out of our comfort zone. Sister Danielle says, we need to understand that some friendships and relationships have expiration date.
That is true. Something to add on for like having friendships that push you. You also want friends that's gonna hold you accountable. So like for me, I know I'm the type of person, like if let's say, okay, so for instance, right now I am in the process of getting ready for med school and trying to get there. So I know last year when I went to camp, I had I think it was Pastor Nate, who prophesied saying that God has my studies. So for me, I was able to share that prophecy with other people and that promise that God had spoken over me. And now whenever like I get into those moods where just like I feel like I can't go anymore, or I feel like I'm just dejected and things like that, my friends remind me of that promise. They remind me of what God said he's going to do. So in that way, it helps me be held accountable. And that way I'm able to continue to push and go forward in the way that God needs me to go. So another question that I have, this one's for Minister Gio. Have you ever had an encounter where your friends did not respect your relationship with God?
Yes, I have had encounters where friends did not respect my relationship with God. It kind of goes into what Sister Marcy said, where it's just like that. I'm just trying to do right. I'm just trying to walk with God. But then, it's like all of a sudden you're acting funny or you're moving different. So I have had encounters where I felt like I had to make a decision, right? And I had to be like, you know what? Like I'm not at this address anymore. I don't do these things anymore. So I kind of had to like leave the address, and it was tough. Like I'm not gonna say it was easy, because sometimes you're tied to people because of time. Like I've been friends with them for such and such amount of time. They knew me, they grew up with me, and things like that. So I think I just came to a point where I had to make a decision. Like, am I going to have like this toxic loyalty to them, or am I going to be loyal to God? And I had to choose.
Okay, that is true. Like sometimes we do have to decide, like, am I going to allow my loyalty to this friend bind me to them, or am I going to allow the loyalty that I have to God and the trust that I have in God pull me forward? So that is something that, like, I know a lot of our young adults in our WCC, we can connect, they struggle with that, where it's just like they have the personality where they're very loyal to a fault, and they aren't able to see when their decisions or when the certain friendships are leading them down a path of destruction rather than a path of glory to God.
Yeah, also don't for the youth that are struggling with that, don't let your betterment, don't let someone judge you and condemn you and try to bash you for your betterment. That's clearly a red flag, a clear indication that someone is toxic and shouldn't be in your life. If you're trying to grow and you're trying to move to a higher level and move your life in the right direction, and someone is upset with that, that is the biggest sign. Here, God gave you the red flag. He made it as clear as possible. That is not someone you need in your life. If you're doing something good, the people around you should want that. They should want the best for you. They shouldn't be upset that you're growing, that you're changing for the good. They shouldn't be upset about that. So you just have to be confident in who you are. And if that's making someone around you upset, then they do not need to be in your life.
Okay.
And if
what
also
happened to the youth that are not able to recognize the red flags is basically they're leaving one friendship, they end up in the same type of friendship. And it's the same for relationship too. They're leaving one, you left John for Peter, but Peter has the same characteristic as John. You left Amy to be friend with Anna, Anna still's the same as Amy. So what can we say to the people that are still attracting the same type of person?
It comes with someone in the comments said standards, having standards helps set boundaries, which was a great one. Yeah, you have to learn. You have to learn to discern. You have to learn to really evaluate. I watched a sermon once, and they said exactly what you said, Sister Marcy. Like, God's gonna keep throwing it at you until you learn. Mm-hmm. He said, You don't learn with John, I'm gonna send you Peter. You don't learn with Peter, I'm gonna send you Matthew. You gonna keep getting this lesson until you learn it, or it's gonna break you. It's gonna make you or break you, but you're gonna keep getting this lesson until you learn it. So you're gonna have to evaluate yourself to help evaluate others. Until you know yourself, you won't be able to know the other people around you and what's bad and what's good. So that takes your eyes to evolve from that physical level to that spiritual level, so you can see this person ain't good for me no more, and this person is.
And I want to chime into that, you know, because that I know I identify with that, because I had to come to a place when just keeping it all the way, you know, 1,000, right? I had to come to a place even when dating, I had to realize, like, listen, what I'm attracted to is not good for me. You know what I mean? The very thing I desire is not good for me, you know? So now I'm like, hold up, I want substance, but I don't seek after substance. You know what I mean? I'm attracted to the superficial. So now I'm over here like, so now I'm with these superficial relationships, you know what I mean? Because I'm attracted to superficial. So now I'm like, yo, God, you gotta change me, you know what I mean? Because this is not, I know this is not for me, but the very thing that is not for me, that's what I desire. Mm-hmm. God, I need to renew my mind. So I need to be able to see from with a different lens, because this prescription right here ain't working. You know what I'm saying? This prescription right here gonna mess me up. I need to like really renew my mind, renew my eyes, so I can see not what I want, but let me recognize what I need. You know,
and I think that takes in a level of self-awareness, of being a level of like your spiritual awareness as well, to seeing like, okay, as Minister Richard said, Minister Dolphin said, like knowing what you're attracted to and what is not good for you, and like understanding the difference and being able to separate those two and find out what is it God needs you to go to.
I want to say something too. I want to say something. It's when you know, one thing I realized, when you know where God is taking you, a lot of things you don't have a choice but to shift. Your friends has to either change or you leave them alone. There's no way you're gonna try to go forward and you still have the same friendship. If the friendship you have does not align, if it doesn't align with where God is taking you, no, even if you try, you have to leave them behind. And when you know where God is taking you, a lot of stuff starts to make sense. Your friends, your choices are better. You no longer just pick anybody to be in your circle. You no longer you're not looking for company. You're not looking for so-and-so to be around, because you already know this person doesn't align with the calling God has over your life. If I have this person in my life, they're going to drag me down. Some people are weights. They're just dragging you down. The more you tag them along, the more you find yourself sinking. And you have to come to a decision where you have to make a choice. Am I going to keep them, or am I going to sink with them? What do? Do I keep them in my circle, or do I let them go? If you need to delete, let me tell you, if you're watching right now, if you need to go in your phone, you need to delete some people. Let me tell you, delete them, let them go, say goodbye. I mean, we already home already, so you don't have to
block them.
I mean, just tell them I can't see you, all right? Show social distancing. I can't see you no more.
This is a permanent distancing.
Let them go. If they're not helping you, they're not helping you grow your faith. They're not helping you with your walk. Let them go.
And it might sound a little bit cheesy, but pray about it. Pray about your friends. Because I remember when I moved from Montreal to Ottawa, I didn't know nobody. So I can't get this person to be my friend or choose this person to be my friend. But I know I pray and I'm like, God, send me real friend. And then he sent me a whole bunch of people that help me with that. So it might be cheesy, but praying the same way, Jonathan was a friend in the Bible. That's why we should pray about it also, to have a good friendship.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Prayer helps with everything. It opens your eyes, it answers questions, everything that you have. Also, another thing that I would encourage you guys is join small groups in your church. Join ministries. That way you can develop friendships that you wouldn't even think that you would have outside if you were outside of church. So I really do feel like when you join the ministries within your church, you're able to form bonds and friendships with other people who are like-minded, who are also striving to seek God's glory and be able to bring praise to the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I think also it's so funny what Minister Julie said is like pray about your friends. And I never had a moment where I really felt like I prayed about my friends. And it's so important because but I was also thinking my pastor always tells me this, like you'll know them by their fruits, right? So you could also look at how they are with other people. Do they have integrity? Are they patient? Different things that they do, you could also look at their characteristics and be like, I can't rock with this person, right? Because like Minister Dolphin said, like birds of a feather flock together, right? So also look at their fruits. What are they producing? So I think that that's another important element when you look at your friendships.
Yes, Sister Gio, that is a good one. That's how I pretty much view life. You shouldn't. I just don't really view I don't really gauge people on the way they treat me, but the way they work around me. Everything else, like the way you treat the waiter, the cashier, your mother, your sister, the people that you are really comfortable with, the people that you have to deal with on your normal life. How are you treating them? That shows a lot of someone's character. Because when someone's trying to get to know you and trying to befriend you or be your significant other, they're gonna treat you a specific way because they're trying to get you. But the people they already have that they're already obtained in their life, how are they treating them? Because at some point, you're going to be in that position that the person in. They're going to get comfortable with you, and that treatment they're giving is what you're going to get eventually. So that's how you should. That's one way to evaluate your people in your life. Look at how they are treating people they're already comfortable with.
Yeah. Something that I just came off the top of my head that Sister Marcy had told me. Also, friendships can be distractions from your purpose. That's something you got to be aware of, seeing like, is this friend like derailing me from the purpose that I have, that God has given me? So again, like how Minister Julie was like, you have to pray for those friendships. You have to pray for those distractions not to be able to have that much hold over you, where you're able to walk away and identify that, okay, this is a distraction that I need to walk away from this. This is deterring me from what I need to do. So a question that I have is just like, how are you guys able to identify if someone is distracting us or a friendship is a distraction rather than something that's helping us progress further?
One, you could do it's a list here, the pro and con list that I've learned about, where you just you basically take that person and you write down a list of the pros and cons and you evaluate them, and either you're gonna see what outweighs which, and that's gonna tell you what the person is to you and where they're going and should you keep them or not. So if you make up your list, and if you really know your friend, if you don't, then you need that's another red flag. Mm-hmm. But you should go down the pros, that they're encouraging, they're optimistic, they're always helping me, they're trustworthy, they're in school, they're in church, spiritual background, and if all that outweighs they joke when I'm upset or da, da, da. If it's minimal and you have all this pro, then you're probably being a little too sensitive, and you should know this is a friend you should want to keep. And it's vice versa, that you don't wrote this list of your friend and you like, wow, I did not know this person had this much bad factors. Like, it's just, this list goes on forever. It's like the cons are massive. Then there you go. That's someone you don't need in your life.
I would say I agree totally, Jeff, with that. I would also say when life hit the fan, where they at?
Yeah.
Where they at? You know what I mean? Like, where they at? Like, you know what I mean? Where they at though? When you got it, when everything's good, you in your season, God is blessing you, always out front. But what happens when you not up front? Where they at? When you know you're going through your season of depression, where they at? Can they see while you got your mask on, like everything is all right? You got your church face on. Oh, praise the Lord, hallelujah. Can they look and see like, what's really going on? Mm-hmm. You telling everybody, oh, I'm good, I'm good. Mm-hmm. Can they see and be like, listen, I know what you're saying, but what's really going on? Who are those people? Like, those people that will hold you accountable and be like, yo, listen, you was on fire, everybody was clapping, but Rich, something ain't right. You good? You good? Those people that God showed me a dream that, yo, I don't know, bro. those people that are willing to check you and tell you the things that you don't know. Those are the relationships that you need to value and cherish. You know, those people that can hang around you with your ride or dies. With those people that can hang around and be around your ride or die people that ain't going nowhere. Those are the ones that's how for me, that's how I evaluate people. You know, when I'm not good, can they put the battery in my back to get me back in the ring and want to fight? You know, do they have my best interests at heart? You know, when I'm down, can they pick me up? You know, so I think that's key.
Yeah, definitely. Can they see past that that I'm fine that you say? When you're really not fine, can they see past it?
Yeah, something I want to add too. It's a really good point to say, like, when things go really bad, like where are your friends? But also when you succeed and achieve things, are they really encouraged? Like, are they just saying congratulations, or can you say I got there because of you? Like, you invested in this too. Because like sometimes you do great things and you're like, they're just there. Like, and some even get jealous, or some like they start acting funny. You know what I mean? So you have to be on the lookout to see when you succeed too, or when you achieve a certain milestone, how are they acting? You know, I think that's one way of you know, identifying if that person is actually a distraction. If you're always there just to, you know, when I tell you what I'm about to do, you never call, you never check up on me. Like I told you about my business, you never support, you never do nothing. And then when it's like I get a promotion or something, man, that's my boy. And I'm like, but where were you the whole time? You know what I mean? So that's what I think.
Brother Jonathan and Richard, yeah, great points. Both of y'all went on the opposite ends of each other. How do you what do your friends do when you succeed, and what do your friends do when you're at the bottom? That's two great ways to evaluate your friends, because a lot of people will show their character. A lot of people will criticize your success. You got this promotion. You could have got a little more than that. That's all you making? Like those, you gotta watch out for those people who got a criticism for every success, every high point you make. There's that's all, or I guess, but buddy got this. You know, that's all you got. You gotta watch out for those people. Or those people who disappear when you're at your low. You gotta watch out. Sister Marcia, did you have something?
Yeah, man, you should have seen my face, Minister Dolphin, when you were talking. I was like, where they at? Where your friend at? Where are they, man? Where your friends at?
Where they at though?
Because it is so true, because a lot of people claim to be friends, and until the darkest moments, until you know, when you're going through something, and they all disappear. I remember I was reading this story online, and this young girl, she was an athlete. She was very popular. And something happened where they went to a party, they were all intoxicated, and all of them got in a car, and they got into a car accident. The other friends were able to leave, but she got burned. Like, she was disfigured. You couldn't even tell it was her. And she was all of a sudden, all of the glory, all of this thing, this popularism, like it was no longer there. Those friends who claimed to have her back was no longer there. When she was trying to find out who she is, she no longer had the same status. Their friends were no longer there. And that's when we need to identify. Some people are there for a season. Some people are there for a reason. Some people are just opportunists. They're just there trying to seek something. They're not there to help you. They're not there to do anything for you. They're there because you can do something for them. And if you can no longer be a service to them, then they no longer need you. And I think we need to be able to have the eyes, not within our own flesh, but for God to open our eyes. So we're able to see the friends that are in our circle. Well, I would say some people should have a sign right in there for her that say, caution, caution, I'm coming, like seriously. Because some people, like, they're toxic and they're Debbie Downers. The moment you're around them, it's like they suck the joy, the life out of you. Misery loves company. And we need to be able to have a relationship with God where we're able to discern the right spirit. Is it a distraction? Is it a distraction to pull me away from my purpose? Or is it God? Where are you? We just need to ask the person, Who sent you? Okay, I like to say, who sent you? Are you from the devil? Is it the devil or is it God? Who sent you?
All right. Couple comments from YouTube. We have, yes, it's time to break the covenant with what we always known, from Sister Ruth. Sister Jokev said self-evaluation change from within. Let's see, you have to call the company to get their number blocked. You have to pray about your friends. Yes, focus on your final destination. It helps you avoid roadblocks, distractions in your journey through life. All right, what else we have next?
All right, so we answered a lot of questions about friends. So now we're gonna transition and go ahead into family. So I know a lot of us, not everyone, but some people may come from a background where family is a sore subject, where it's just like it's difficult to talk about family or talk to family, especially when it comes to our relationship with Christ. So Minister Dolphin, this question is for you. How was it coming from coming into Christ when you didn't have a spiritual background?
Coming into Christ, you know, again, like I always say, like I ran from church. I didn't believe in church. I didn't believe in pastors. Like I would get out of here. Like I'm good, you know. So coming into the faith, you know, for me, it was a shocker to my family, you know, because, you know, my family wasn't spiritual, wasn't going to church. They had an acknowledgement of God and believed that God exists, but as far as like following his ways, that just wasn't the practice in the house. All I had was a praying grandmother, you know what I mean, who I believe firmly made me, is the reason why I am who I am today, because she prayed, you know, and I'm who I am today because of the backbone of her prayers, you know. But when I had to like have these conversations with my uncles who knew me for one way, like, you know what I mean, knew me from living one way of life, and now to tell them about how I stood, like I had to be bold, and they was just like, "Are you for real? You mean like no more? You ain't sleeping around no more?" I don't understand. Like I had to have those fierce conversations so that they know where I am and where I stand, and I had to be I had to come correct with a certain boldness where I wasn't saying, "Well, I just want to let you guys know, I'm living for God now." And nah, I said, I'm like, ain't shame, like, yo, this is what it is. I'm telling y'all, this is how I'm living. I know it sounds crazy, but this is where I'm at. So they were just like, "Are you for real?" But my boldness spoke volumes to the point where they'd even test me. They'd be like, "Yo, you sure you don't want to go?" I'm like, "Are you done?" They're like, they already knew, you know. So I think it's the boldness and the conviction that I had with my walk. But that boldness and that conviction came from my surrounding and my circle, because I was around people. I got their boldness. Being around bold people helped me become bold, you know. So now I could be bold in my own way in order to take my stand for the faith, you know. So I think that was a major key, you know, to help me live out my faith to my family. So now they know, like, you know, they know what it is. Like, you know, when they see me, they was just like, "Hey, what's going on? How's the church? Or when you going past your own church?" I'm getting these questions because they have a respect for what it is, for the life that I live, even though they're not really trying to check. They ain't checking for it, but they respect. And if they know they need a prayer, they know who to go to. You know, they know who to go get, you know. So that's just my take.
Okay, Gio, do you have anything to add on that? Because I know you spoke about how you didn't come necessarily from a spiritual background, but you were able to find like family within church and everything like that.
Well, yeah. So I kind of spoke about this where I said, like, my parents did not come from church, right? Like, much like Minister Dolphin, I was like, I came to church because of my grandmother. That was that. But I was so grateful because I had a community. And I think it goes back to everything you said about having the people around you, right? Once I got into church, I had a community of people who would like pray for me, be with me, like took me under their wing to, you know, help. They're a big part of who I am today. So I definitely think the whole aspect of a community, like, you know, there, like, you just need that when you're trying to grow in faith.
Okay, that's a good thing, because I know like a lot of people might be coming from backgrounds that don't have spiritual background, and it's difficult for them to get into the spiritual walk with Christ, especially if they have family that's discouraging them. or family that's putting it in the face, like, you were just like at the club yesterday, how are you gonna go to church? It doesn't make any sense. You're an oxymoron or whatnot. And it's like, you have to surround yourself again with the people who are in your small groups, the different ministries that you're in, so that they can give you encouraging words, so that they can pray with you when your own family can't pray with you.
And
so another, you want to add on?
And I just wanted to add this, because even while you're saying like, oh, how is it with your family and everything like that? We got to recognize who's family. Because oftentimes family ain't really family, you know, and even keeping all the way a buck, even Jesus, when he said, it was just like, why you gonna leave your family? And he said, who's my family? He said, only they that walk in the way of my Father, that's my family. You know, so when we talk about our surroundings, our church community, how vital that is, we might not have family via blood, even though we relate, you know, you are my cousin via blood, but then also too, we have another family who we got the same blood, the blood covenant, the blood of Christ, we got the same blood of Jesus pumping through the veins, and those are family. We have spiritual mothers and fathers, and we have spiritual brothers and sisters, you know, those are family who we ought to cling to as well, who are able to relate. Why? Because we got the same blood. We relate on a whole different level, you know what I mean? So I think that's key and that's crucial, you know, especially to those that, when it comes down to family, family ain't really family. When family ain't family, still recognize your real family, you know, and run with that, because family ain't always blood.
Marcy, you have something?
That is so true, Minister Dolphin. And just like you were saying, because you're family doesn't mean this equally yoked thing is not only within someone that we're dating, right? You can be family and you're not equally yoked. You don't see things the way you view it, they can see it that way. And I know sometimes we're trying to make them understand. Let me tell you, you're wasting your time. They're never gonna be able to see it the way you're seeing it, because the way you're seeing things is from a different light. And if we're not walking in the same light, there is no way that they can see things the way you're seeing it. So a lot of time that we beating ourselves, we frustrated, we can't understand, like, how we come from the same stomach, how we from the same house, and you just don't understand where I'm coming from. But it goes back to the relationship, because our walk with Christ is separate. You may be going, you know, somewhere, but the other person that's in the same house is not going in the same place. And I think, just like we were saying, to go back, we need to be accountable. You know, try to reach out those who are surrounding us, because just like I said earlier, if you're not walking with me, you're gonna be left and I have to go, because I don't want nobody to hold my walk. I don't want nobody to keep me stagnant. I need to move forward. And if you're not moving with me, even if we're family and we're blood, you're going to have to stay behind.
That was a good message. Do you have any questions from YouTube?
No, but I do have a couple of comments. Blood makes us related, but does not make us family. Not everyone you're related to is family. Family isn't always people you share DNA with.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Do not try to fit in when you were born to stand out.
Woo, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this next question is for Minister Julie. As someone who is in Christ, should it be your responsibility to get your family into a walk with Christ if they're not already?
Well, you cannot make them change, but you can pray for them to give them so they can come closer to Christ. From my experience, everybody, I will say my mom is Christian, and all my siblings, I have 7 siblings, have a big family. I'm saying I'm not responsible for them to make them change who they are, but I pray for them so they get closer to God, so they see the light. So the sister after me, she got closer to God. I pray for her. I pray. You know what I did was I pray and I ask God to give me a subject that we can include the gospel so we can share, so everybody have the knowledge, try to understand, and now they're attracted. They want to get closer to God. So we cannot make the change. Only the Holy Spirit can, but we can get closer to attain that goal.
Okay. Thank you for saying that. I do agree. Like, it's not our responsibility to try to like drag up somebody to come into Christ. The best that we can do is pray for them continuously and ask that God may change their heart. Because at the end of the day, it's God. Our hearts are in God's hand. So even if our heart is hardened, it is up to God to like kind of mold it and allow it to be more receptive to Him.
I think.
Does anyone want to add something?
I was going to add, I absolutely agree. I don't think it's up to us to change someone else. Like, I think it's the Holy Spirit, but I also think like we have to be realistic. Like, for someone like me, like I am the representation of like church and Christ in my house, right? Because my mom doesn't go to church and different things. So we also have to know, like, we have to operate in love and different things that, you know, we just have to exhibit His fruits, right? Because that's what can essentially bring those people, you know, who consider you as the church, who consider you the Christian in your household, that could be the seed for them to come into, you know, Christ, come into church and stuff like that. So I think we just have to also be mindful, like, although we can't bring them, we might be that representation for them.
Yeah, that is true. So I know, like, we have to uphold ourselves continuously, no matter where we are or whatever situation that we're in the way of God, so that our bodies will be examples. The way that we walk will be an example for other people to see, okay, this is how it is to be in Christ. This is what it means to be loved in Christ and to have a family within Christ. Huh?
Yes, we have a follow-up question. He said, what if the person do want to change or do not want to change? What do you do?
So if they do want to change or they don't want to change?
Yeah.
I know Minister Julie has spoken, like, if they don't want to change, you can continue to pray for their heart and continue to pray for them.
I mean, you can't force them, but you can continue like having, like, you don't distance yourself from them. You try to show them the right way, like including in your daily life, you know, so they can see, okay, Christ in you, like you, Minister Gio was saying, you know, so they can see you are an example and where Christ took you. And then they look at that, they're like, you know what, it's not as crazy. Maybe I can be like her. Maybe she can lead me somewhere, you know? So, but we don't put, you can also, like, don't put pressure also on them to change, because that's gonna make them walk away. And that's not the goal, right? Because as you speak into them, you ask the Holy Spirit to do the work. That's
okay.
I just want to add something. Just to what Sister Gio was saying. Sometimes in our family we are the best ambassador, you know, for the kingdom to our own family, because we are related. They know us from a long time ago. So like for us to have such an encounter to the point that we will change and surrender our lives to God, they have questions. You know what I mean? And sometimes when they don't want to change, it's because they still have questions. And sometimes it all boils down to, are you humble enough or comfortable enough to have a real conversation with your sibling or whoever it is that's in your family that is hesitant to change or that wants to change? Just hearing their testimony or hearing the hurt, you know, sometimes someone else won't be able to do it. You have to sow that seed, you know? So this is where it in my opinion, it kind of feels like it is your responsibility, because you're the best person for them, you know? Especially if they have really deep questions, you know, that you can definitely relate, because y'all come from the same, you know, family or background.
Yes, definitely. We also have some comments. The only person that could change is yourself. Keep praying. We have be a role model of God's glory. Yes, yes. Be the representation God needs you to be. So pretty much you have to be the foundation for your household sometimes, because they might not have it, and God put you in that household for a reason, to bring them to Christ, because they're not there now. So He called you out for you to bring them closer. So sometimes you have a bigger job than other people, and you just have to accept that passage that God put you on, and accept it and go hard at it, because you might be the one that brings them into salvation that they need.
How I see it. Yeah. And also, I just want to add, you don't judge the person as well, because you're safe. So that's one thing. Sometimes, like, the person doesn't want to change because they feel judged, because you are so holy, you look so perfect. So just be real to that person and give them love, so they understand, they're in a safe environment.
Okay. Yeah. So I do agree with what Minister Julie had to add on to it. So now that we've kind of discussed family, we're gonna get into a topic that in our college ministry, we know they love it. We could spend hours discussing it.
Famous.
We're gonna talk about relationships and courtship. So again, if you guys have any questions, put it into the YouTube comment. Minister Jeff is gonna read through them as we go along. So our first question, this one is for Minister Dolphin. So this question goes, when is the best time to get into a relationship?
I believe the best time to be in a relationship is when you're at a place where you don't need to be in a relationship. And the reason why I'm saying is because, I think everybody has a choice. They would like to be in a relationship, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you feel like you need to be in a relationship, as if you need a relationship to complete you, you need a relationship to make you feel happy, because you have, because if we're honest, sometimes we want to be involved, or we want to be with somebody to make us feel better, or make us feel better about ourselves than we do about ourselves, because we don't really love ourselves. You know what I mean? When we're in that mode, you don't need to be in a relationship, because you're bringing that baggage into a relationship, and whoever you're connecting with, you're asking them to do something that cannot be done, because only God can give that. You know what I mean? A relationship is not going to make you whole. Only God can make you whole. So when you're in a place where you are complete, and then you're content with God, I'm talking specifically for believers. When you're at a place where you are content with God, right? That's when you're able to be in a relationship, because you're at a place where you can add value to whoever you're connecting with, But if you're not in a place where you don't even value yourself, you're only going to bring damage to that relationship. You're basically bringing your baggage and asking them to carry it for you, because you can't carry it on your own, and that's not healthy. So we got to make sure that we're mentally healthy and prepared, mentally healthy, spiritually healthy enough, to deal with all the factors that come into a relationship, So I think that's very vital and crucial. And then also too, having the maturity to know what is it that you desire from this relationship, And I'm saying this because even myself, again, like I told you, I was at a place where I had to realize that the very thing that I desire was not good for me. And it's only through the Holy Spirit He had to show me, like, why am I getting in these, why am I stuck in this scenario, right? And then I had to look at what I'm desiring, right? And then it was only until I had a particular time. I remember I was talking to this particular individual. We were talking. I had such a great time, and then I was just like, man, I wanted to introduce her to my pastor. You know what I mean? I was like, I seen God showed me, this is the blueprint. This is what you need to look for, right? And the reason why I know this was the blueprint, because there were plenty of times where ladies that I was entertaining, I would never want them to step foot in the church. I don't want them. It's not even in my mind to introduce them to my pastor. Why? Because I already know this ain't good for me. Why? Because this is convenient for the time. This looks good on my arm. This is, you know what I mean? But this ain't good for me. But I'm entertaining it. Why? Because of my own personal desires, But when I came in contact with a woman that was spiritual, something I was like, you know what? Shout out to my fiance Evie, right? Right? I said, like, when I seen her, I was just like, I don't even need to ask my pastor what he thinks about her. I was just like, there she go, there, right there. You know what I mean? You present them with your chest out because you know you're bringing something that's of worth. You know what I mean? So I think that's when we need to like really reevaluate who we are, understand where we are, be honest with ourselves, you know, with our wants and needs, and spiritually mature enough to realize, you know, what can we bring to this relationship? What are we looking for? You know, and then also having the right counsel around you. When you can't discern for yourself, you got people that's there could be like, that ain't it. And that's when you got real ones in your corner. So, you know.
I'm glad you said that too, Mr. Dolphin. You were saying that some people are just looking for company, right? We're trend followers. We don't even know why we want to be in a relationship.
It's convenient.
Everybody, you know, all your friends in a relationship, all of a sudden you want to be in a relationship too. You have no desire why you want to be in a relationship. You don't know what, you don't have no reason. And some of us, we're still trying to find ourselves. We're still going through identity issues. And if you don't know who you are, there's no way you can be in a relationship with anybody because you're still trying to find yourself. All right, you don't know your purpose. That means you still can't pick up the right person because the person God has for you has to align with your purpose. And if you don't know your purpose, there's no way you can be, you shouldn't be picking nobody. You shouldn't be choosing nobody. You shouldn't be dating to begin with. Find yourself first. And I don't know, you know, maybe it might take 1, 2 to 3 years. I don't know what your process is, but we have to understand that we need to work on ourselves first. A lot of time we think the person that's coming into the picture is gonna make us whole. Okay, 2 halves don't make a whole, people, because you're half and he half, it doesn't make a whole. Okay, it doesn't make 2, it doesn't, well, you're still 2 halves. You're still broken. All right, I don't mean to sound harsh, guys. I'm not like,
it's real.
Like,
no, it's real.
If you're not together,
right.
He's not together. Now, 2 dysfunctional people, I heard, I was hearing something. Now you have a bunch of jacked up kids because you screwed up, he screwed up, and then life doesn't really work. We have to work on ourselves first. Before I can ask someone, I can ask God to send someone my way, I need to make sure that I am whole. I need to make sure that I am together. And I can speak from experience because I remember there was one year I'm like, oh, my boyfriend is coming next year. He's coming next year. And God was like, no. I'm like, God, I have it. I'm together. I'm ready, Lord. I'm ready. I'm in church. Like, I have it together. And the Lord said, sorry, you still have a lot more work to do on yourself. And if I'm looking at things now, I'm like, thank God we serve a God who knows better. That he doesn't just give us stuff when we ask for stuff. Because I look at myself now of who I am now. If God gave me a relationship when I was broken, when I was still trying to find myself, it would not be successful because I was still lost, looking for someone to validate who I am. And God had to work on me before I can find who I need to find. When you know your purpose, God will align you with whoever to steer you in the right direction. But let me tell you, I always hear the Haitian says, if you keep asking, he's gonna say something. He's gonna say something to you. All right, So sometimes we need to be patient. We need to be patient and allow God to send when we're ready, just like you were saying, Minister Dolphin, when we're spiritually ready, mentally ready, emotionally ready, then God will send somebody.
And let me say this, we're ready when we want covenant over convenience. Because oftentimes we're not looking for covenant, we're looking for something, and we settle for something that's convenient and try to put a covenant label over it. It ain't gonna work. You know, you can put a lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. You know what I mean? That don't change. You can dress it up. You know what I mean? You can put a robe on it, it's still a pig. You know what I mean? So we have to get to the point where in our minds, like, God, my heart is after covenant. You know what I mean? I want somebody that I can do destiny with, you know, not life, not just life. I want to do destiny with, you know, and not somebody that's, that look good on an Instagram pic with you. Like, you know what I mean? Nah, is beyond that. You know, we gotta think big picture, covenant over convenience.
All right, and just to add to that, a little part to that, you have to understand before going into a relationship, if you're broken, you risk breaking somebody else. That is a very important thing you have to understand. If you're not together and you're carrying a whole lot of baggage, you're bringing that into someone, and you can ruin someone else maybe for the rest of their life because you couldn't evaluate yourself and get yourself right before going into a relationship. It's not always about you. You can ruin someone by not being ready and just diving into a relationship prior to God telling you, hey, it's your time. This is the person. Go ahead. So that's a real thing that we all need to consider.
Do you want to go through and read some comments that we have?
Yes. I say, yes, we should bring them to church.
That's the first test right there.
Yes, Sister Ruth said, how can you love someone if you haven't loved yourself yet? Mm-hmm.
How important is it to introduce your potential mate to your pastor?
Oh, Pastor Lucy said, how important is it to introduce your potential mate to your pastor?
I'll go ahead and answer that. I think it's very important because sometimes your pastor may know something more about you spiritually than you do yourself, because it's hard to see the whole situation when you're in it. So I think sometimes when you have someone who is spiritually mature and they themselves have been through relationships or they've been through the ups and downs of relationships, they can give you that knowledge that they have or share advice and wisdom that they have. And again, it's just like you're gaining that spiritual guidance as well as the Christian aspect of how to date when you're in Christ. Okay.
And
oh, go ahead.
Nah, I was
think.
No, go ahead. Somebody else is going.
Minister Dolphin, you're going?
Nah, you was gonna say something. I'll let you go.
Okay, no, I was gonna say, yeah, I think it's just like Pastor Lucy said. I think it's very, very important to introduce your mate, and when you know it's serious, I have to say that. When you know that it's worth meeting your pastor, because if today we have John and next week we have Peter, it's not worth meeting your pastor. When you're sure, you know, you've prayed about it and you feel like this is someone that you can be, and you know, you see a future or you see something with them. Yes, I said it's very, very important to introduce them to your pastor. Or maybe if you're even having doubts, maybe you're still at the early stage and you're having doubts, introduce them to your pastor, because your pastor may see something that you're not able to pick. They might pick up red flags. There's some red flags that you're not able to pick. Because, you know, they say love is blind. You know, you so goo gaga, like you're like, oh my God, I love him, or I love her. And you're not able to pick up the red flags because all you see is hard signs. You can't see, you know, that this person is not good for you. But it's good not only your pastor to be able to tell you, that I don't think so-and-so is right for you. We also need to be able to listen. Because some of us, our pastors will still tell us, I don't think this person is right for you. And we still date them. We still talk to them behind their back, which is still not right. And then we end up getting hurt. And then we're crying to our pastor. We're calling them, oh, so-and-so broke my heart. Or so she broke my heart. And then when she said, I told you so, and then you want to get mad.
And I could speak to this, like, you know, from personal experience, because I was there. You know, I was there when my pastor came up to me like, hey, so how's you and so-and-so? You think that's the one? I'm like, yeah, pastor, I'm telling you, man, yup, yes, it definitely is. And they looked at me, you know, that ain't it, right? I'm like, what you mean? Like, you know, I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm feeling fake offended. You know what I mean? But I wasn't gonna end the relationship, because after all, I'm like, but at the end of the day, it's my life. You know, I love her, she loved me, so we gonna stay in a relationship. But as the relationship progressed, I had to be real with myself. I felt hindered. Because how can I go ahead and say, God, I serve you, when I know I'm living directly in disobedient, you know, being in disobedient to clear and specific instructions that God gave me. And I'm like, And how can I look to this man, you know, as my spiritual God, knowing I'm disobeying him, knowing we about to go to Applebee's right after service, and I'm like, it ain't working. You know what I mean? It's not working. I don't feel comfortable. I had too much conviction in my heart. You know what I mean? Because how can I say, oh, I want to follow God, but yet I'm living directly in disobedience to my pastor that was set by God to watch over and protect me as a sheep? Like, it ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? And on the flip side, you know, again, showing that, but I know that relationship, that was something inconvenient. I was in that convenient state because I wasn't spiritually mature. But then when I'm over here now, when I'm to the point where I was hyped, I couldn't wait to present my fiance to my pastor, you know, because I already knew, you know, it wasn't like I had confidence. It was like, I was like, hi, what? Like, you know what I mean? You making me look good, right? You know? And now it's to the point where literally, like everybody, like I say this all the time, like, yo, people like her more than me. It's okay. My pastor be like, where's my daughter? You're like, just you? I'm like, yeah, just me, pastor, yeah. You know, but that goes a sign. That goes a sign when you know your relationship is in alignment with your destiny. You know what I mean? And knowing the difference is so crucial. You know what I mean? It's a bigger picture. You know, covenant over convenience at all times. So that's definitely key.
Yes. Also, yeah. I see my pastor like my mom and dad. You know how you have that. If I'm bringing you, it's serious. I can't just bring anybody over here. Mm-hmm. That means I gotta have confidence that you're the one before I bring you there. And I feel like that's how we should view it. You can't just bring anybody to your pastor. You gotta discern. You gotta wait, and you gotta be like, okay, you're the one. I'm gonna bring you to him because that could be your next. And also, emotion clouds judgment. That's why it's good. It's really good to get that perspective from other people, especially your pastor, with the level of discernment they have, and be like, hey, this is da 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 da. If they pick up on a red flag, you can't be stubborn to let that person go because of that emotional connection. When someone is clearly telling you, hey, I see this, I see that, this is not the one. You have to have that trust that God put them in your life to say, hey, before you get hurt, before you get broken, let that person go. And some of us you're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna be like, some people maybe this is her time being wrong. Maybe this is her. Maybe she wrong about this one.
The thing is, some people are like, I learned better when I go through the experience. It's just like, is it really worth it though? Like, come on, you end up being more damaged than when you came in. So do you have any more to add on or anything like that? All right, so our next question, this one's gonna go to Minister Julie. So how do you recognize red flags? Minister Jeff kind of mentioned that. So we want to know, how are you able to recognize the red flags when you're going into a relationship?
I think like if you're too far in love and then you want to invite God after, you won't see the red flag. So God has to be part of it way before, like you start talking, you put God at first so you can see, because you need to, like, you have to be neutral. If you clearly fully in love, you won't see any sign. And I can talk about myself, you know, I was in a relationship, you know, I did not see all the flags. I did not see, because, you know, I wanted to be with that person. That person is Christian as well. I'm like, why not? And then you have to be sure you have a good surrounding around you, first of all. When people was telling me, don't you notice a few red flag? I was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to pray for that person. He will change. Things got to get along. You think like you can help them in that way. You know, it's not going to work like that. So you have to make sure God is at first in your position, in your relationship, before you get too deep. Otherwise you won't see the red flag. So you have to look at their connection with God, that person is in love with God, because they have to love God more than love you. And like, you have to look at their relationship, how they, like, they're surrounded, what is the type of people around them also. If you never met one of their people, then you should ask yourself some question as well, you know. So it's just like, it's kind of difficult, but you know, if you being wise and open your eyes behind the love, you can see all the flags. That's all I can say.
Yes. My biggest red flags are just the way a female talks to her mother is probably like the biggest flag for me. Like, I dictate a lot on that. Like, I feel like if you just disrespect your parents on the normal, like it's dead right there. It's dead in the water. Like, I have no hope for you. This can't go no further, because especially if it's a difference when you have struggles with your parents and you're aware of it, and you're like, I'm trying with this lady, but she really pushes my button and I'm trying to like not. And there's a complete difference from like, oh, now that's over. And you just disregard after you just got into a crazy argument. You just disrespected the world out your mother, and you just moved on, and you just come back to talking to me. And I'm like, because I've been through that before, where I was talking to a girl on the phone and she just got into a crazy argument with her mother, disrespected the heck out of her, and then just came back to the conversation with me like it was normal, like nothing happened. I'm like, ooh, all right. And it was done after that. That's it for me. I can't do anything with that, because if you don't care about someone who raised you, I know there's gonna be a point where you don't even value me as a man. You're just gonna completely disrespect me once you get to a point. So that's a major red flag for me.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else to add about red flags and identifying? Because I know, like with red flags, if we ignore it too much, then the relationship becomes toxic, and then that way you just end up. It's like a snowball effect where things just get worse and worse and progress worse until it comes to a point where like you literally have to be evicted out of the relationship. Like there's no the expiration date has already passed, but you're still staying in it for some hope or for some reason until you get evicted. So does anyone else want to add on to that, or can we go ahead?
I think Brother Jonathan has something.
Okay. Yeah. If this person brings out the worst of you, that's a red flag. Also, if that person is a distraction to your goals, like, if it's like, you were saying, I want to finish my degree, and then all of a sudden this person comes into your life, and then it's like you have other goals now, and like it's all right to evolve and stuff, and you're growing and stuff, but like if you, again, we talked about it, but if you have a good surrounding and they're like, what are you doing? Like, you were supposed to, you had your mind set on something, and then this person came in, and now it's like, and sometimes because you're too involved in your emotions, you won't see it. So I think that if people around you are telling you, you're changing, or you're completely becoming this whole other person, I think it's something to consider, as that what is this person, bringing out of me that makes me a completely different person. I think that could be a sign of a red flag.
I agree with what you said. Like, it does take a self-awareness and being able to have, like, making sure your company that you keep is making sure like they're keeping you accountable and all that. This question is for Minister Gio. So the question is, should you invite your boyfriend or girlfriend into your walk with Christ?
Yes, I believe that you should invite your significant other to your walk with Christ. Like I think that they should already be walking with Christ prior to even, you inviting them. I feel like that's something that they should have beforehand. And it's not something where you're first introducing it to them, because I think that it's important to lay your foundation in God when it comes to, your relationship. So absolutely, definitely invite them. But I think beforehand, you should definitely make sure that they have a relationship with God, and it's not like contingent upon what you have with God, right? Because like we said earlier, you don't want to be holding on that dead weight and carrying this person, right? So yes.
Yes, and I also got a different perspective from it once. It was like, each have your own path. Now you should definitely like let them know, like, here's where my walk with Christ is. But at the end of the day, we can't intervene into your spouse's relationship, because that is a one-on-one relationship with God. You can't tell them, well, you got to pray this way. Well, you need to do this. You need to join this ministry. You need to do that, because that is their own relationship with God. It's not for you to intervene and be the judge of that. You can pray, you can fast with your spouse, do all those things together. But at the end of the day, it's their one-on-one relationship with God. God's giving them salvation, not you. You're not going to bring them to heaven and say, here's the gate, you get in. No, that's God. So you have to let them have their own journey with God.
Do you have any questions from YouTube? No.
Yes, I had one. This one is for Sister Marcy. It's from Poster Girl 1983. It says, what relationship advice do you have for single women without kids in their mid to late 30s regarding dating when majority of their age group are men with kids or men whom already been married?
That is true. I can definitely relate. I'm in my 30s. So it is true. A lot of the guys are out there either have kids or they've been married. And if your desire to be with, a guy who doesn't have kids, who have their stuff together, can I tell you, Poster Girl? This guy is still out there for you. All right. And I'm only saying that because I can relate. I didn't meet someone until last year, and it took me forever to finally, because I refused to settle. I'm like, God, I don't want so-and-so with a kid because I already know myself. I'm like, I'm going to have to be worrying. You have to know yourself too, okay? I'm like, I don't want to be that's 2 jobs. I don't want to be worrying about someone with kids or if they with their baby mother. I don't want to be worrying about that. So I said, God, if I have to wait, I will wait for the person that you have for me. If it means that waiting for 5 years, you have to be able to wait for 5 years to receive God's best. I refuse to settle just to go to, because everybody's getting married. I understand. You in your 30s, trust me, I'm in my 30s, and you were Haitian, your mother already on your case. Okay? Everybody's getting married. So-and-so is getting married. Sister so-and-so, she was 20 years old. I just went to her wedding. All right? And the pressure is not easy. Because everybody else is getting ahead, and you feel like you played your card right, and you should already been ahead already. But let me tell you, what God has for you. I don't know what happened to my thing. It's still talking. What God has for you is for you. You just need to wait and pray and keep asking God to open your eyes so you can see who God has for you. Your guy is still out there. Trust me, he's still. God will position you at the right place at the right time for this person. Until then, you do what you need to do. If you're involved in ministry, you keep doing what you need to do in ministry. If you're volunteer somewhere, you never know. God may position you at a place where you volunteer. You may end up meeting your mate. You never know, but don't stay and focus on not dating or focus on not finding someone. Do whatever you need to do, keep doing your stuff. And when the time is right, God will position you at the right location to meet your spouse or your mate.
Just to kind of pick, you want to go? You can go, Minister Julie.
I just want to say also, I was 2 weeks ago, I was in a conference for the woman, and one of them was saying, you have to ask God, is it your plan for me to get married? Because sometimes we think, because you look at the others, we want to be married, that's what we're looking for, but is it God planned for you to be married? Maybe God doesn't call you to be with somebody. So that's, another pointer to be careful with that.
Okay, yes, that is, I do agree with that completely. So another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about with the recognizing red flags is also you have to come in and knowing what are your deal breakers as far as a relationship and your deal makers. What are things that you will absolutely not put up with, and some things that, okay, you know that you can work on yourself or to try to get better so that the relationship can work. And another thing is, another question that I have, this one anybody can answer, is should you go into a relationship with expectations or certain intentions before going into the relationship?
Yes, I can hop on it first. Absolutely. If not, you're just going in blind without intentions. You're just roaming around. You're wasting time. You're wasting that person's time, and you're wasting your time. Like, what's the point? You have to know what you want before you get it. Like, how you gonna get what you want if you don't know it? So first you have to decide, you have to get to know yourself. You have to get right with God and be like, what's for me, what's not for me, who's for me, and who isn't, before you can decide, okay, let's get into this, hop into a relationship. And then you end up wasting that person's time because they already have goals and aspirations in life on where they want to go, and you haven't decided yet.
Okay. So we have one last question. Then after that, we're gonna go ahead and do our closing. So our last question, this one is for Minister Jonathan. So how do you know when it's time to let go of a relationship, and how do you go about that amicably and in a way that is representative of Christ?
So we kind of mentioned it earlier, talking about friendship, but example, just knowing where you're going, and sometimes if just knowing where you're going, and if you see that this relationship is just it's too much of a weight, or there's something that like a trauma or something that happened, and you're compromising stuff. I think it's time to let go. Like if you find yourself compromising your destiny, compromising who you are, you should let go. It's hard, but it is something that you need to do, because that's all I gotta say. Like as soon as you start compromising stuff, that's definitely something that will show you that you need to let go.
Amen.
Yes, I definitely agree. If you start compromising yourself, then that's right there. That's an indicator that the relationship has to end, that it's like it's changing who you are and you're not being yourself. So we're going to go ahead and kind of close out, because children ministry is going to start in a few. So I'm going to go ahead and read our closing, and then I'll open up the floor just for a few minutes for if anyone has anything else that they want to add on based on all the subjects topics that we spoke on. So for the closing is, the relationships that we have with others during this time in our life is very important. They hold a lot of influence over us, and for the most part, they mold us. We're able to pick and choose who we want to invite in our circles, as well as who we want to remove from it. In simple terms, it's a time for us to be selfishly selective. But it's also a difficult time to manage those relationships, because God set us apart from our peers. He set us to be different. He sent us to be the salt of the earth, so that when it's time for him to remove us, that we can go. Also, he said, oh yeah, so, and he also chooses our desires. Though he gives us free will, he chooses our desires, which is to always choose him. In a stage in our life when we want to do everything that pleases us, it's difficult to always choose a faithful relationship with Christ. He doesn't call us to live in a constant tug of war between him and our relationships, but he calls us to live in peace through him. So how will you allow God to direct your relationships with him and relationships that we have with others? So,
and we named it a tug of war for a reason. This is we are in a constant battle, and the whole point of the tug of war was to bring the analogy that you're gonna have two sides pulling at all time, the spiritual and the physical. And you know the way tug of war wins, the strongest side wins the battle. So it's all about which side you feed at the end of the day. So where are you putting your efforts to? Are you praying? Are you fasting? Are you attending service? Are you doing all the spiritual needs that to upgrade you and bring you to that new level? Or are you partying, neglecting your spiritual duties, and just hanging around, which is feeding all that, the physical side? So when you lose that battle, you can go back and evaluate, well, there was a reason I was losing that battle. Which side are you feeding?
So the floor is open if anyone wants to add any last words. If not, then we're gonna go ahead and close out, so then that way children ministry will be able to start. No?
Let me say something. Guys, we want to thank you for watching. Thank you for staying online with us. I saw the numbers. I was looking at the numbers that were consistent. So we thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for participating in this Let's Talk series, or this little panel we had. We appreciate it. I appreciate all of my guests, everybody that Jeff, Trish, Minister Dolphin, Minister Gio, Minister Julie. I thank you guys for taking the time to come and just talk. Those who are online, I thank you very much. I pray that you got something out of this, and I was blessed. I thought it was a very good talk, and I pray that you can at least share this with someone, and hopefully they will turn around. So If we did not get to some of the questions, I'll go online as well on YouTube just to look at stuff, and I'll answer something, a couple questions as well. Again, guys, we thank you. Children Ministry Service is about to start. So also please share the link with someone. We love you. We appreciate you. Say, have a good afternoon. Have a blessed afternoon, and see you guys at 3 and see you guys at 7:15 tonight again. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much
Have a great
for
one, you
having me.
guys.
All right. Goodbye.
Okay.
Ooh, my butt.